You don't. Hold on, AP. I think you're not coming in. You know what? I don't think you're coming in, but now you're coming in. Go ahead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Now
Okay,
you are.
hello.
We have 30 seconds,
Hello,
man.
hello.
So
This is very unprofessional, man. It's very unprofessional setup. This is supposed to be a serious channel.
that's why I do it.
Here.
That's why I do it for free, man. I came here to help today.
Yeah, hey everybody and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. Welcome back. We're doing something very, very special today. I'm sitting here together with a good friend, my friend from Mexico, Jose. Just kidding, he's not from Mexico, and his name is actually Jorge. Jorge, what's up? How you doing, man?
Doing well, man. Let me go ahead on and let you introduce the show right now, man. Take it over.
Good, wonderful. Hi, everyone. This is Apostate Prophet again. Sorry, I haven't done this before. This is the first time. Hope everybody's doing very, very well. So I'm going to have a different live stream today and actually introduce Logos, which many people may have heard of, and many people are not yet familiar with, which is a very fantastic platform and resource for people across the board, no matter if you are a Christian or if you are something else, whatever you are and wherever you are that, but especially for Christians, a fantastic source of knowledge, of scholarship, of greatness. I want to introduce that today, and I want to bring Jorge in right here, right now.
AP, what's up? It's good to have you in your channel.
Why are you acting like this, man?
Hey, man, I'm just trying to get, just when you're when you're with somebody as famous as you are, man, people get nervous. So just trying to shake my nerves off and just try to have a good time and enjoy what we're doing here. And yeah, people will see new face here. It's not David Wood. There is no need to say TikTok time to rock. That's for boomers. And we're just the youngins here at the AP Apostate Prophet channel. And we're going to have a ton of awesome things to show, to talk about. The Q&A is going to be phenomenal. So yeah, just wanted to share that with the people and see what happened.
So this is Jorge, the guy who talks a lot. He almost talks as much as David. He also tries to be like David in every other way, which is why he is here today and not David. David is kind of busy. He's doing other stuff, but I'm here to go through Logos, which we got together and started building a nice future and a nice collaboration together with. But before talking about that too much, I think I want to just jumping into Logos, something very, very exciting that we are building, something very exciting that Logos has offered me, something very wonderful that I can share with everybody else, a little agreement of a sponsorship, something that everyone can participate in and support Logos and also acquire lots of knowledge and all that. So we want to do that. Okay, Jorge, what is the next step? What am I doing now?
So it's very simple. What we're going to do is I want everybody to pay attention. You can start asking your questions while we are showing a little bit of Logos, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce my friend and colleague, Scott Lindsay. Scott, how you doing, brother?
Doing well. I unmuted at the right time.
Good.
Usually at this point, I just talk for 5 minutes and nobody can hear me, but hey, I remembered to unmute. So good to be here, everybody.
Well, AP, give us a little bit of the background of the conversation that you had with Scott before the live stream. When you guys got together, I wasn't able to be there, and some of the things that we have coming up on the stream, and is a little bit of an overview of what Logos can do. And like you said, it can do this for people who are believers, unbelievers, agnostic, everywhere in between. It just helps you get answers to the questions that you have, and is a very different type of AI compared to other software and other things that we do. I'm going to let you guys talk, and then Scott, when you're ready to share your screen, just let me know and I'll bring it up.
Yeah, so I want to basically go back to the to a little bit of a personal thing and a little bit of a history of how this came into how this came to be. Um, as people know who have been following my channel and my journey for the for a longer time, I have been doing these YouTube videos and live streams and all that, and over time, the channel has been mostly simply supported through live streams, supported through donations and help and very limited monetization and all that. And I've always been very willing to and eager to actually have a proper partnership with somebody, a proper partnership in a good sense, in a good way, in a healthy way. It usually didn't work out very well, so. I have been using logos for a very long time, and I thought to myself that it would be a very nice thing to actually have something with logos, to figure something out with logos. And in a very, very nice way, this came into existence. Jorge put us in touch. We got together. We started talking about and exploring a partnership, a sponsorship. I used my logos myself in the past. Sorry, I'm kind of distracted by people saying something about the microphone. I used logos myself in the past and still use it to this day. So we spent some time, Scott and I, talking about what is currently happening at Logos, such as developments in AI. And how Logos is using AI in a healthy and good way to actually further, information and further people's knowledge and all that. So Scott asked me to do a few things over the weekend, and I sat down and did that. I sat down to have some conversations with the Logos AI to go through some topics that would be of interest to me and also to people who watch the channel. So I did that, and today we actually want to demonstrate that, and we further want to demonstrate. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to give the spoiler at this moment, but a collection of works of books that were also put together just for me to push and to support here together with Logos. So we're going to look at all of that, but I have a lot of questions, Scott, about Logos, about the future of it, about the functions and all that. I find it fantastic. Before I do that, before I get to questions, I just want to give the stage to you to introduce to everyone what Logos is all about and what we can do with this fantastic tool.
Yeah, before I go in, I just want to rudely interrupt, as I usually do and going to be doing throughout the stream. And I want to say that your mic is just fine. We're using a different system, so sometimes it takes a little bit for me to EQ everybody's mic. But as you can see, we have a different production setup.
And there you go, everybody. It was his fault. It's his fault.
Yeah, it is my fault. I admit it. I'm gonna rip my clothes and repent in sackcloth and ashes.
Don't do that.
But yeah, no, that then
not on the live,
not on the live stream. Okay, but now I truly will leave you guys alone and let you do that. Scott,
this is the last time that I'm working with you.
Okay. You want me to just go ahead and share screen?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. Like I said, we've been talking about this for a couple weeks, and we've been working with you on putting together just an amazing apologetic library. So what I thought we'd do that's a little different than other live streams I've done in the past is to give a brief overview on what we're doing with AI, the potential of this amazing tool for biblical studies apologetics. And then about midpoint, we'll give the amazing announcement, and I might as well let the cat out the bag now, but we're going to give everybody a 60-day free trial of this new Logos AI. So I'll explain that here in a moment. We'll have a QR code and a landing page, and there is a deadline. So just be mindful. We don't give 60-day trials typically, so this is a special offer for the audience tonight with a deadline, which we'll give here in a moment. But let me just give you a brief overview as I jump into my...
Well, you just muted yourself.
Yeah, you muted yourself, Scott.
This is very unprofessional.
There we go. Very unprofessional.
Yeah.
Who is Logos? Well, we've been doing this now for about 33 years. I think we're coming up on our 33rd anniversary. So we've kind of pioneered the space, the idea of studying the Bible and biblical texts and ancient languages and so on your computer. I've been here 28 years, so not quite from the beginning, but pretty close. That's all the gray in my beard is my longevity here at Logos, but about 350 employees, primarily here in Washington State, but kind of scattered everywhere now after COVID. A lot of people went home. But the number that's shocking to me is, one, we have a couple million users now worldwide, but we just hit 300,000 books in our format. So we have the largest theological digital library available, current scholarship. We've got the old resources, but we've also got the new current scholarship and so on. And so that's a little snapshot of who we are. But a lot of radical things have changed.
Why does he keep muting himself? AP, say something.
Unmuted and muted. Now you're unmuted and muted yourself again.
Scott, you're muted for some reason.
There we go. Not muted anymore. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It's probably Jorge's fault, yeah.
It's just blame me. Hey, you see? Blame the Mexican, right? You guys sound like Trump.
There you go.
You know, so just because it's got to be Taco Monday, Taco Tuesday, Taco Wednesday, Taco Thursday. We rest on the Sabbath. But yeah, just blame me, okay?
All right.
You're not even Mexican. Now. Why are you acting like you're Mexican?
Hey, man, I can do it, baby.
Well, what has changed at Logos? Number one, ease of use. Praise the Lord, because some of you might have looked at Logos years back and actually maybe even downloaded it and just couldn't use the thing because it almost required a master's degree in tech to use it. So,
what in the world is going on? Scott, what are you doing? You touch it.
It might be my space bar. I'm gonna hit arrow key. The arrow key.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. See, I see the arrow key trying to do something here. That is just the weirdest thing ever. Well, let's just roll with it. AI. What's the difference between Logos AI and all other AI? Let me see. Hey, there we go. Mic didn't go off. All right. So, because that's the conversation now, right? Everywhere I go, this is the conversation, using AI for biblical and theological studies. But I always put major caution, like just really be careful about doing that. So I want to do a little comparison on how we're using AI, our philosophy of AI versus all other options. So Perplexity, Claude, ChatGPT, all the big brands that everybody knows of. Number one is garbage in, garbage out. So we are not connecting you to the internet. So we're not pulling any information from the web. That blogger that thinks he knows anything about anything, not pulling that content. So we're only pulling from scholarship. So real resources, apologetic resources, the Bible itself, commentaries, Bible dictionaries, and so on. So that's a big difference, right? Now, the other thing, and some people don't even know this is really happening, but hallucinations. And actually, this is getting worse. I'm going to share some statistics on kind of the current state of hallucinations. And again, it's getting worse almost monthly. But hallucinations is AI is making stuff up. So Logos is not. You know, my joke is because we don't do drugs. But we don't make stuff up because we're only pulling from real books, right? Real resources. We're going to give you the page number, which you'll see here in a moment. So when we give you an answer, we're going to tell you exactly where we got it. Now, here's some latest statistics, and this is hallucinations just with like news. So I would guess for theology, it's probably way worse, honestly. But Perplexity, 37% hallucinations, ChatGPT, 67% hallucinations. Elon there with his Grok 2 and 3 not doing too well, upwards of 94% hallucinations. And so a lot of people don't realize when you go to ChatGPT with a question about whatever, and we're going to get into some questions, theological questions, questions about Islam and so on, you've got to realize that maybe even a majority of the answer you're getting is completely made up. But this is the scary one. It's called theory of mind. Theory of mind is the premise that AI is trying to figure you out. Okay, it's trying to tickle those ears. What do you want to hear? And it's going to lead you down that road. So I work with someone well known, has a huge ministry in Dallas, was in ChatGPT recently, asked a question about a biblical text. The interpretation was completely false, and replied to ChatGPT, "This is wrong." And then ChatGPT said, "You're right, this is wrong." And the person's like, "Well, why are you telling me that then?" Right? Again, theory of mind, trying to figure you out. Now, thankfully, this person knew that's a bad interpretation of the text, but how many in the church now are asking questions of AI and don't know that the answer they got was hallucination, you know, resource doesn't even exist. Sometimes the author doesn't even exist, right? And then also trying to figure you out. So Logos is not trying to figure you out. We're trying to help you figure out what the scripture says, what scholarship says, and things like that. Now, the other big barrier is we've gone to subscription. So again, we're going to give everybody watching this evening a free 60-day trial of either of the three levels. So we have three levels. One as low as $10 a month. The other one's 15. The top one's 20. So the top AI option in Logos, $20 now, whereas in the past, like if we had done this live stream maybe a year ago, we might have started at a couple $1,000s to have access to this tool for study. So that's a huge shift for us, is going to subscription. So we also have another special gift if you hold on, an amazing theological course on church history, which is $285. I'm just going to give everybody that tonight as well as part of the special promotion and partnership. But with that, there's three things I want to briefly cover, and then we'll jump back in and get very specific with AI and Logos for questions that you sent me over this weekend. Great new feature in Logos, but reading the Bible, asking the Bible, and then studying the Bible. The ultimate goal would be to study the scripture, right? So with that, let me jump into Logos, and this is Logos Desktop, okay? Now, I'm actually premiering tonight for the first time, not only Logos AI, but also the library that we worked with you on, where you sat down with our massive, again, 300,000 books and hand-selected some very key titles, apologetic titles, ancient language titles, commentaries, and things like that. So I'll talk about that in a moment. But when it opens, this is Logos on your desktop. So the best use of Logos is going to be on your real computer, so Mac or PC. However, every tool that I show tonight is on your phone now. So AI for Logos is fully accessible now on your Android, your iPhone, your tablet. So all three features that I show here in a moment, you have in your back pocket. Do want to point out, if you need some help, I love this about Logos. We have fantastic customer service, so you can call us, but if it's midnight, nobody's going to pick up the phone at midnight, and maybe you're somewhere on the other side of the planet, let's say, you can go in here and type something like Hebrew study, okay, or whatever you want to do in Logos, but hit search and Logos will actually go and find videos. So this is actually Dr. Michael Heiser, a renowned Hebrew scholar, actually showing me how to study Hebrew in Logos. And I don't know about you, but I like to learn by video. I don't like to read things. I'd rather somebody show me. And so that's a huge new change in Logos, is that front and center 24/7 right there. If you need some help, we're there. But let's check that first box on reading the Bible. So over on the left, there is the Bible button. And this will be the same thing on your phone. You'll see a little Bible button. And I'm in Romans right now, Romans 1. So there you see Paul, a servant of Jesus Christ, called to be an apostle. But the new feature that arrived not too long ago is right here, called Insights. Now, by default, Insights will open. So when you open your Bible in Logos, mobile, desktop, you're going to see Insights. And notice, and let me make this a little bigger by just dragging, getting a little bit more real estate. Notice there's my Insights. So it's reading the text, Paul, a servant of Jesus Christ, called to be an apostle. And right here, I've got articles into Bible dictionaries on who Paul is. So if I want to know more, I can click the link and go there. I've even got articles from different dictionaries, but I've also got visuals. So I don't know about you, but I like to see things. I'm a visual learner, so you're going to see these beautiful infographics inside of Logos, thousands of these actually all throughout Logos. But again, if it's applicable, we're going to find dictionaries, we're going to find interactives, and we're going to find visuals, right? Notice too, commentaries. So commentaries are these great resources that are pretty expensive. I don't know if any of you have ever bought a single commentary. It could be 50, 60 bucks easy. So Logos is actually giving you tons of commentary. And notice as I scroll through my Bible, the text is staying right with me where I'm at, right? So if I decide to tackle, let's say, Revelation, maybe that one book of the Bible that you've avoided over the years, notice instantly there's all of my insight again on the side, even cross-references and so on and so forth. Now, you can change the commentary if you'd prefer a different commentary. Maybe I'd want to go to New Bible Dictionary, click, and I literally just changed my commentary. But again, the big idea, as I scroll through the biblical text, Logos is actually just going to stay right with me there when I need some insight. So great new feature. I love this on mobile. It's one of my favorite features when I'm reading on my mobile device. So that's just checking the box of reading the Bible. But here we go, Study Assistant. And this is the tool that you and I hung out in last week and then this weekend. I think you stayed up kind of late digging into Study Assistant. But this is where you now ask questions, okay? So I'll start simple. Well, actually, let me bring in one of the questions that you sent me. And it was right here and multiple layers. So basically, when you jump into Study Assistant, this is Logos AI answering the question, but with biblical content. So theology, commentaries, and again, some of the books that you help put together. So you just type the question out. So you had started with, does the Quran accurately represent Christian belief when it attacks them? Now, interestingly, there's my answer with this new feature in Logos called Study Assistant. But here is the actual references. So the numbers obviously represent that actual resource, but again, with the page number. Now, the beauty of that is not only do I know exactly where this answer came from, but if I click it, I can actually go, oh, you know what? It's still downloading. So that is part of the library that you put together for us. But I did it this morning, so it's still kind of downloading these resources. But page 32, page 255, again, no hallucinations, literally telling you where the answer came from. Then you asked, rather than assuming that Muhammad interacted with heretical Christians, can't we take into consideration that Muhammad was very ignorant and misunderstood Christian beliefs or was misinformed about them by others? So another great question that you asked in Logos AI, and it's bringing me back the answer. But notice as you kept going with this, you're not restating anything because we're in a conversation that you started kind of initially with this first idea or topic. So speaking of that, because what was interesting is when you and I were in this Friday and you were kind of going in here and asking various very specific questions, you made a comment about you have taken some of these ideas or questions to like ChatGPT or other AI, and you made a comment that I would love you to repeat that when we do the live stream.
Yeah, that was so I asked the question to the Logos AI about whether Islam represents Christianity accurately when it critiques Christianity, or whether Islam represents Christian beliefs accurately when it critiques them. And when I ask ChatGPT such a question, it tries to basically bend over backward and give me this very, very soft, this very apologetic approach, and this whole thing, like it is very nuanced, and there, some people would argue that there are some inaccuracies and all that, but it tries to really be nice to Islam, for example. You try the same thing with Grok, and it kind of plays these same games as well. The AIs are kind of, even Grok, they are kind of programmed to be to try and be very, very nice and not give you the answers that you actually want when you simply have a question that you want a proper answer to, right? That's why we ask questions. And but when I came to the Logos AI and asked it the question, it actually directly addressed it. So I said, when Islam critiques Christianity, does it represent Christian beliefs accurately? And it said, yeah, it is very inaccurate, and here is how. So together with all the sources, so that is a very very nice approach. It's very, very nice to see that we have an AI that actually appeals to proper books, to biblical thinking, that doesn't apologize, and that actually tells me what I'm asking, the answer to what I'm asking. So
I think it's interesting too. Some of these questions or conversations you have are quite lengthy. One of the things I keep getting is emails from people that are trying out the new Logos AI with very nuanced, specific questions, some of which have been 50, 60, 70 words, and are shocked that Logos kind of picked up on the main ideas. Like one guy said, listen, I was kind of babbling. I didn't even know the right question to ask, so I just started typing in Study Assistant. And again, some of these questions that you're asking are lengthy, and Logos did a fantastic job, kind of finding the resources again in a biblical library, and providing a great answer on that. So that was one of the questions. But one of the things I want to show everybody is the ability at each section of a conversation. So if we go back up here to, rather than assuming that Muhammad interacted with heretical Christians, can't we take into consideration that Muhammad was very ignorant and misunderstood Christian beliefs or was misinformed? And here we go. Yes, that's a plausible explanation. It says historical context reinforces this. Muhammad's imperfect understanding Christian doctrine was probably due to the nature of his informants, right? So again, great answer. And maybe I want to share that answer, right? So at the bottom of every conversation is a copy button, right? So if I push that, maybe I'm leading a Bible study, maybe I'm just doing my own personal research, maybe I'm blogging, right? Maybe you're in school. You literally just hit the copy button, hit paste, and there at the bottom, again, is all the citations. So if anybody is in school or even thinking about going to school, the fact that Logos automatically cites all your resources is amazing. And you can actually pick your citation style, Turabian, SBL, we've got them all, right? Now, you can also copy the entire conversation. So what I just demonstrated is a section of a conversation that I wanted to share, but there is the copy all button if I want the entire conversation copied. But what's new as of a week ago is copy link. So if I hit copy link, I can text that because you have Study Assistant on your phone, or you could copy link. I'm here on my Mac, and I could email it. I could again text it. And when someone clicks that link, the entire conversation shows up on their mobile device or their computer. So I think it was Sunday, you sent me 3 conversations just by hitting copy link. And the minute I clicked them, they loaded into my Logos, right? So here are the other 2 conversations that you sent me. One was on the incarnation, explain the incarnation and its importance and beauty. Again, great answer, all cited. Then you asked, how can this best be explained to Muslims who don't understand Christian theology? And then I think that was the last part of that conversation. But notice again, I've clicked it a few times, the reset button, meaning you can have as many conversations as you want. So this feature's been around about 2 months, and when it came out, I spent about a day or two in my office, and I created probably 100 conversations about everything that I've wanted to dig into. Not only maybe apologetics study, but I'm kind of in Leviticus right now, and where I used to get confused about what's going on in the text, I just go into Study Assistant, ask the question, what is going on? And you can be as specific as saying Leviticus 2, I mean, the exact passage. Tell me what the Hebrew word is in this passage. Why is this a significant insight, right? So that was another conversation. And then the other one you sent me was simply the Christianity and Islam differences. So you started with explain in detail how Christianity differs from and is at conflict with Islam. So Logos AI kind of put it into some categories here: theological differences, historical and contemporary. And then, I could say, give me more insight on theological differences, because again, down here, you continue the conversation. So you can go for a very long time. I have one conversation in my personal Logos that I've been digging into some church history, and I think I'm at 30, 40 parts to the conversation because I think of something. As a matter of fact, the other day I was at the grocery store and I couldn't wait to get home and jump back into a conversation and continue, right? Now, I do want to plant this seed, just on this one. What are more moral differences? So foundational moral authority, human dignity and equality, sexual ethics, and family structure. Again, you could say, I want to go further into the sexual ethics and family structure. Show me even more. Give me more insight. But when you get done with a conversation, one of the things you can do is say something like, can you summarize this conversation into 3 main points for the Bible study I lead, right? So if you teach in any capacity, you can do that in Logos, where you can have a lengthy conversation, maybe spend a couple days digging into something, maybe that you're looking at in comparison between Christianity and Islam. And then at the end of it again, say, can you summarize this into 3, 4, 5 main points, right? My middle son is in youth ministry, and he'll do this, but say something like, but I need this to be for teenagers. So it'll take maybe some heady theology and insight. And once it heard the word teenager, it kind of breaks it down to a reading or an understanding level of a teenager. So that's how specific you can be with the new Logos AI and what you need from it, right? I think I told you Friday, I'm working with an actual NFL quarterback who's leading the Bible study for a team and is actually kind of witnessing to a couple Muslims on the team. And one of the things he's digging into is the doctrine of the Trinity. But what he doesn't want to do is beat up his Muslim friends with perfect doctrine. The goal is to plant evangelistic
Why not?
seeds.
Why
right?
you don't want to beat him up, man? What?
Well,
this is what AP does all the time.
That's what AP does.
That's this. AP goes live and he's. Anyways, just wanted to interrupt rudely and let you go.
No, but what's interesting is he said, "Listen, I want to take this difference in view, this primary, huge, massive doctrine in Christianity, but I want to explain it in light of my Muslim friends, and how could I talk about this with more of an evangelistic lens, right?" And it understood that. It picked up on the word evangelistic. And the answer was still phenomenal, but it definitely was more seed planting at that point, right? Just because this person was that specific. So this is the tool that I honestly think if this was the only thing Logos did, is the fact that I can ask any theological question. I can compare again what you've done here, moral differences between Christianity and Islam, but then continue the conversation, dig even deeper. Is just an absolutely amazing new tool in Logos. Any other more insight there, or any other conversation? Because you sent me these on Sunday. So has there been any other kind of things that you've dug into Study Assistant that have been kind of insightful?
I mean, I have had a few more conversations. I actually kind of continued with one of the conversations further. Um, Went more into detail. There was another conversation that I started about specifically about the nature of God. Um, One of those is actually among the conversations that I sent to you. Now, I sent you three of them, and one was about the differences between Christianity and Islam, because I thought about how it would be, how to best explain Christianity to somebody who comes from an Islamic background, because people often have these complete misconceptions. Into that direction also goes the very conversation about the incarnation that you earlier pulled up, where I asked the Logos AI or the Study Bible to explain the incarnation and its importance and beauty, because it's something that I personally really care about. How Jesus, the Word, became flesh. I think it's one of the most beautiful and crucial things about Christianity. Have been kind of captivated by that whole aspect, and I asked the follow-up question of how this can be best explained to Muslims. That is actually something that you might want to show. When I asked the second question,
No.
I said, how can this best be explained to Muslims who do not understand Christian theology and belief and insist on the Tawheed, meaning the unity of Allah? And there you can then see the Study Bible giving me directly an answer to that, and actually, kind of trying to help. And explaining the incarnation to Muslims requires acknowledging the genuine theological tension at stake. Muslims find the concept of God becoming incarnate and experiencing human emotion fundamentally incomprehensible. How could the transcendent Allah weep? This objection runs deeper than mere disagreement. It reflects competing understandings of divine nature itself. The core issue centers on how each tradition conceives God's relationship to creation. Islamic Tawheed emphasizes God's radical uniqueness and transcendence, that God is uniquely singular with no equivalent to him. Within this framework, Allah's transcendence makes having a son unthinkable, and ascribing deity to Jesus constitutes shirk, associating partners with God. To a Muslim ear, calling Jesus Son of God implies sexual intercourse between God and Mary. Rather than dismissing these concerns, effective dialogue requires clarification. Christianity is monotheistic, not polytheistic. The Trinity affirms three persons within one divine substance, not three separate gods. Christians worship God, the eternal Son, revealed in one man, Jesus, who according to Chalcedon is fully God and fully human in a single person with two natures. While mysterious, this understanding contains nothing obviously incoherent or idolatrous. A bridge may exist in recognizing that some Muslim scholars historically understood Quranic critiques of Christian doctrine as attempts at rapprochement, seeking common ground on monotheism itself. Rather than beginning with the incarnation's how, start with shared conviction. Both traditions affirm God's absolute oneness and reject idolatry. From there, Christians can explain that the incarnation doesn't compromise God's unity, but reveals how divine love operates, God entering history personally rather than remaining distant. I actually find this quite insightful, because the final reminder here, or the final suggestion here, is actually a very useful one. Now, I wouldn't say it in quite these nice ways, but still, what it does point out is that when you have this disagreement and you want to talk to Muslims about something as to them complex, in my opinion, not complex at all, but to them very complex, as Jesus, being God and becoming flesh, you could start out with getting rid of some of the misconceptions and clarifying to them without trying to sound very, apologetic or subservient or anything like that. Hey, we both believe that there is one God. We both believe that God is one. We both reject polytheism. We both reject idolatry. But let me explain to you how our beliefs actually are and all that. So this is an interesting thing. It's not just a system, the study assistant, that you simply ask, where can I find this source and where can I find that? And it just tells you stuff. It actually engages with your questions on how you can convey these things. It engages with them in a serious and good way, and gives actually solid advice. So I really like that.
Yeah, so with that, I said about the halfway point, and then I want to jump into an amazing tool called Factbook, which is sitting right underneath Study Assistant. So these are kind of my three favorite single tools. Obviously, being in the Word, I showed insights, but Study Assistant is the new AI where you just ask any question in any nuance or any direction. But Factbook is where I actually go study a topic, a biblical text, or something. But I wanted to go ahead because I said about the midpoint, we would share the website and the QR code. So um, I think here, if you want to get your mobile devices out, that will be the QR code where, again, we're offering the free 60-day trial. Now, if you want to go ahead and go straight to the landing page, it's just logos.com/AP. Now, once you go there, this is kind of what you're going to see. There's a brief, about 10-minute demo of those three features. Again, if you just want a quick review, or if you want to share with somebody that wasn't part of tonight's live stream and say, hey, wow, this is an amazing new use of AI for apologetic and theological studies. But the AI is right here. So again, there's three different options. There is premium, there's pro, and there's max. Now we're going to recommend pro because pro has all the AI features. Premium has some, but it's missing some of the better features. So for the $5 extra, pro is what I would highly recommend. Also, the ability to do Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic studies. So this is where original language comes into play as well. But again, all of them are fantastic, but Pro is kind of the one that is absolutely most popular. Max would allow you to also study ancient languages, so Ugaritic, Coptic, Syriac, and things like that. Now, this is the study bundle that we worked with you to put together. So minimum, you really want to start with one of these levels because even at each level, we do include a library of commentaries, Bibles, theologies, and so on. But for the specific nature of your ministry and your channel, we sat down with you and created the Apostate Prophet Study Bundle, where these are key theological resources and titles, obviously more towards the comparison of Islam and Christianity and so on. So if you want to see what is in the bundle, you can just click the Learn More button right there. And that is the library. So that will, and again, if you were to buy all the books that are in the library that you put together for us, you're going to spend about $5,000 once you get through all the theologies, ministry, apologetics. There's $800 just alone in apologetic resources. So again, if you do the math on what you're getting in the study bundle here, you would spend about $5,000 to have access to this library. Now, for some, you're like, hey, Scott, I definitely want the Logos AI, that study assistant tool and other things would be fantastic for questions I have. And I would actually like to increase the library and what I have access to. Then there's your three options, premium with your bundle, pro, or max. If you want to see, again, specifically what's in the study bundle, there you go. And I do want to show as well that if someone did choose the Pro AI level with your study bundle, that there is another option where they don't need to shell out the full price for the study bundle. There is a monthly option, which makes it about $50 a month, which for many that's affordable. Like $700, I don't know. Even though it's a $5,000 theological library, hey, $50, yeah, I could probably do that. After the 15 months, you're done. So that you will own this library outright forever. All the commentaries, all those apologetic resources that you had chose, and then also the free course. So that will automatically be added. Oh, I misquoted. It's a $440 course, not $285. This is an 8-hour course on Western civilization from the Greeks to Aquinas. And there's an amazing section in there that you'll see where It discusses the spread of Islam, but again, it's from the Greeks to Aquinas, and I misquoted. It's not 285. It's much more expensive than that, and that's just our free gift for you tonight as well. So all you have to do again is go to logos.com/AP or click the QR code. Minimum, choose one of the levels, premium, pro, or max, but seriously consider doing the AI and then adding also the study bundle that you helped put together. Now with that, any other questions or comments on maybe the study bundle that you put together? Maybe there's a couple titles that you remember. You're like, oh, I mean, I remember you were a little kind of like a kid in the candy store, 300,000 books going, oh, this one. Let's put these all in this bundle. But yeah, and then I'll show Fact Book.
So it's a bundle that I put together with the help of the Logos team. There are hundreds of books in there, and I thought, what a fantastic opportunity. And it's my own bundle. It's even named after me. So
there you go.
I wanted to include as much good stuff as possible. So I did spend quite some time trying to add more books to it that I personally like. So what I did here is so anybody who purchases this, you can have a plan to purchase it with just, what did you say, like if a $50 subscription,
$50 a month.
Yeah. Or you could just buy the whole thing. But what I specifically wanted to add there were, certain Bible translations, Bible commentaries that usually come with bundles anyway. But what I also wanted to have in addition were specifically books that talk about Islam in a way. So while I would like to have a big library of Christian books and books about the Bible, I thought that the bundle specifically for my channel also should have stuff that goes through Islam. So I asked for a series of books and articles and other things, and they were all added to the bundle. Now there are a bunch of books in there that you can find which also study and analyze and critique Islam, and you even have, and for all those who are familiar, you even have, what I've seen, for example, Robert Spencer books in here, which is very cool. Aside from that, I wanted to make sure that we have books in the bundle that analyze Christianity from different perspectives, that go into the less explored sides in the West, the more mystical, more beautiful aspects of Christianity. As I said, I like the incarnation, so I wanted to add books by early church fathers and others that deal with the topic of Jesus becoming flesh, of what it means to be a Christian, what it means to be Christ-like. Books that are generally more uniting and not dividing in terms of interdenominational topics and all that. Books that also appeal to my Eastern Orthodox perspective. A lot of the writings of the Church Fathers from before and after Nicaea. We have books that are about Judaism, that explore Christianity's roots in Judaism, and the parallels of Judaism and Christianity, so many more things. I mean, I was very excited to add some the writings of one book, which was the Apostolic Fathers, a new translation. One I wanted to really add, which was the collective writings of Gregory of Nyssa, that is in there somewhere, because I was really curious about the text, about sharing the text that he wrote, which is called On the Soul and the Resurrection. On the Incarnation by Saint Athanasius was another one that I wanted to have added. So there's a lot in here according to my taste and stuff that I would like to share with people, but also in general that is all about Christianity, and a little bit also about Islam from a Christian perspective, Judaism from a Christian perspective, and some more mystical stuff. I I would love to share this with everybody else. I have the bundle myself, and I now have so much to go through. Much of it I already read. Some of it I didn't read, and I feel very excited about. So would be happy to share this with everybody.
One of the things too that you can do in Study Assistant, so I've been on a bit of a patristics kick myself this year. I can specifically say, what did Athanasius say about this? What did Augustine say about this? Which is amazing. And what's interesting is when you ask that question, the first thing that Study Assistant will do will go to primary resources. So the writings of the person that you said, what did they say? But then Logos will come back and say, this answer came from primary resources. However, would you like me to search your whole library? And when you reply yes, it's still what Augustine or Athanasius said, but it's what scholars say Athanasius said. So now we're going to secondary sources. So I do this all the time. I was in a deep dive on the Trinity recently, and I just said, hey, I want you to tell me what Athanasius said, what did Augustine say, went right to the original writings of the fathers and so on. But then the second question comes, would you like me to search everything for that answer? And then it went to, a lot of times, theological journals. It went to scholars that maybe have spent their lives studying the fathers, right? So that's another great nuance on Study Assistant that I wanted to plant that seed for those that are watching. But again, when we're at the website, I did want to point out that there is a deadline. And then I'm going to jump into Factbook and show a couple more things in closing out tonight. But March 31st, which is next Tuesday, that's when the 60-day free trial and the huge discount on your bundle is over. So you've got about a little over a week to make that decision. Again, you can share this with anybody. They would get the 60-day free trial and the option, if they so choose, on the AP study bundle. But again, we would love as many people to take advantage of the 60-day trial as possible. So share either the QR or logos.com/AP.
By the way, while we have
anybody.
this on screen, I want to point out how the link is just the most amazing thing here. Logos.com/AP.
AP. There you go.
AP. That's it. Logos.com/AP. I never thought
easiest URL to remember ever. Yes, I love it.
Logos.com/AP, everybody.
AP. That's it. Now, to close out, I want to show you my favorite tool for studying a text, a Greek word. It's called Factbook. So notice up here, this is where you type something that's a little large. So let me show you how you can change the font size. For some, that's a great feature, right? I take my contacts out at night. I can't see anything. So you can make any window in Logos as big as you want. But right up here is what you type what you want to study. So you could type a biblical text. I could type Leviticus chapter 1, maybe a book of the Bible that many of us avoid. And now there's a new feature using AI that will be so helpful for any passage of Scripture. I'm choosing Leviticus because AP, as we know, a lot of people in their Bible reading plan and probably the next week or so are going to hit Leviticus if they started January 1, right? And they're going to get here to burnt offerings and priests and blood, and they're going to go, what is going on here, right? Well, commentaries are great resources, right? So Logos gives you a lot of great commentaries. And if you got the time, great. Read a lot of commentary, right? But I want to point out summarize. So you'll see the summarize button sitting there on all the commentary inputs, right? And what summarize does, obviously, is summarize all the content. So what this enables me to do is to actually get great insight from great commentaries. If you got the time, absolutely read the whole commentary. But a lot of times I don't have the time to read 20, 30 pages of insight on a particular passage. I love this new feature now that allows me to summarize what that scholar has to say about that particular passage. But we'll line up your Bible translations as well. But this is the feature that I think it's my second favorite new feature. besides Study Assistant. That's absolutely my favorite. But Questions to Ask has helped me engage with the text properly. I think one of the greatest barriers for theological study, Bible study, is I don't know the right questions to ask the text. I mean, look at the third question right here. How does the burnt offering foreshadow Christ? Now, that's a great question to be thinking about when you're reading Leviticus chapter 1. So notice all I have to do is click the arrow next to anything. Who performed the burnt offerings? What was the historical context of burnt offerings? What's the theological significance of a burnt offering? How did other ancient cultures use burnt offerings? So now we're getting into cultural insight, historical insight. And now when you scroll back up, there's your answer with Logos AI. So remember that third question here, how does the burnt offering foreshadow Christ? So again, great insight on why Jesus is the better burnt offering. And if I want to take that AP and go even further with it, notice in the bottom right corner is a little link here, which guess what? Will load it into my study assistant. So if I want to spend the next 30 minutes just kind of digging into the parallels of Christ and some Old Testament, and especially, again, the burnt offering, it's now loaded into my study assistant for me down here to continue the conversation. So I'm actually doing, it's interesting, you said something earlier, and it kind of reminded me something that I've been studying has been the image of God. So you can type a topic into Factbook. So Trinity, image of God, kingdom of God. And when you select exactly what you want, here we go again. Bible dictionaries for topics. Commentaries will be what we'll bring for Bible passages, but look at questions to ask. So where does the Bible mention the image of God? What does it mean to be made in the image of God? How does image of God impact self-worth, right? So if I want the answer to that, if I want to know what's the theological significance in the image of God, was the image of God lost after the fall? Great question. How does sin affect the image of God? And give it a couple seconds, and Logos now is answering the question that I selected. And again, this has been a great springboard for me. This is where 2 hours of time all of a sudden just vanish because I started here in Factbook either with a text or with a topic. But this section here has just been so good for me because a lot of times I don't know how to tackle numbers. I don't know how to tackle Leviticus, right? So to prove my point, I don't think anybody chooses to study the book of Numbers, right? I mean, Romans and Revelation and so on. But when I scroll down now to questions to ask, I have some great theological insight. Case in point, what is the theological significance that the Levites were excluded, right? So questions to ask is one of my favorite new things in Logos because those passages or topics that I've avoided over the years because I didn't know how to engage with them, questions to ask is helping me with that. So again, and everything I've showed today, kind of wrapping it up, reading the Bible with insights, study assistant where you can ask any question you want, theological, apologetic, it could be about a Greek Hebrew word or a theological idea, is on your mobile device, and then Factbook is also on your mobile device. So everything you see here on my desktop literally is in the palm of your hand because you've got Factbook on mobile as well. But with that, I'll put the slide back up on the screen. Again, the deadline is next Tuesday, March 31st at midnight. But as long as you get there in time, you get the free 60-day trial. You got to pick Premium, Pro, or Max. But then also seriously consider the amazing study bundle that you helped put together for us with the big discount. I think, again, if you were to buy all the books individually at logos.com, you'd be about $5,000. So it's like I think it's 92% discount, which that's a great discount.
And want to point out to everybody that there is, I think the total number of books that are in the bundle, which the Logos team and I picked together, is around 280 books.
280, yes.
Yeah, 280 books, which is fantastic. So you can get that all on logos.com/AP. And the most important thing here is that if you subscribe to Logos through the link or you buy the bundle, the most important thing, aside from all the knowledge, is that you're supporting this channel. So
yes, absolutely. Yeah. Now, let me be a little convicting, because I do this every time I speak at a conference. Let me just remind everybody, this is what it'll look like if you did the QR code on your phone, and you're going to want to look to creating an account. Most watching probably don't have the new Logos AI, so make sure you just look for that little create an account. Sorry that we kind of buried it down there at the bottom, because we got people jumping in here with an email and they don't have an account yet. So don't mess with this. Create an account and then follow the steps, and you'll be good to go. But the reminder is, we don't need 6, 7, 8 ways to watch a movie, right? Just pick one, get rid of it, and you can have this amazing tool with the new study assistant, Logos AI. Again, I highly recommend the study bundle that you helped put together for us with the 280 specific titles for some of the categories that you explained. And I want to close with this. I found this quote actually today. I was in my Logos. I just thought it was a great quote. But the ultimate goal of apologetics is to bring unbelievers to the point where they must admit, even if only to themselves, that if they reject Jesus Christ, they are not doing so for intellectual reasons, right? That's why I love Logos. We have 100 developers. I mean, some of the sharpest minds on the planet. Thankfully, they've decided to use their gifts and talents to develop a tool like this to help us dig deep into truth, into the scripture, ask those questions that you've always wanted to ask. And I think, as you've discovered this weekend, pretty amazing the answer and response, especially in comparison to taking that same question and going to like ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity, where it's going to be very vanilla. It's going to be very, it's just not going to be a great answer. So I'll leave this up. There's the landing page, logos.com/AP. But again, if someone waits till Wednesday, April 1st, they're going to try to go to this website, it will be gone. So gotta make that decision by next Tuesday midnight. Any closing comments, or Jorge got some questions?
Well,
I think I'm fascinated with all. I love all of this. The only complaint that I have is that you didn't have dark mode on the app the entire time.
I know. Tell him. He needs to have dark mode on, man.
However, I want to inform everybody who is like me and needs to use dark mode on everything. Logos actually does have dark mode, which is how I use it.
Yes, we have dark mode, even on mobile. So yes, I'm not a dark mode guy. I don't know why. Maybe because I live in Washington State, where it's dark all the time from the rain anyway, that I want as much light as possible. So maybe that's the reason. That's what I'll tell everybody.
Sense.
Yes,
that makes sense. That makes actually complete sense. Yeah, that's very good. No, this is fantastic. I love it. So I want to point out again to everybody, I'm very excited about this. Very, very excited. Personally, very excited. I always loved Logos, and believe it or not, I did say before to others and to myself that I would love to do something with Logos in the future, and then it suddenly came to happen. Probably nothing to do with Jorge. He just somehow turned up, and it was just recommended by him. But still, no credit to Jorge at all. He probably didn't do anything.
I don't need no credit. I don't need none of that. I try to be as humble as David would. So,
but I'm still talking. You're rudely interrupting me. I'm still talking. All right. So. No, I want to just share how excited I am about this, how much I loved to put the bundle together and to share all these amazing books with everybody. So if you want to purchase the the bundle, go ahead, do it. You would get a fantastic amount and a collection of books, of sources. Plus, also, you would be supporting this channel. That would be fantastic. Try, even if you're not going to do it in the end, although I do urge you to do it, if go on the link logos.com/ap. It's also in the description. And if you don't have it yet, start your 60-day trial. Try it out. If you like studying, you will love it. If you like having Bible references, you will love it. If you like having biblically based AI, you would love it. So I would definitely recommend it. Check it out, everybody. Logos.com/ap.
Hey, I want to
Sign up
ask.
now.
Yeah, so I'm going to let you do that again, but I actually got a quick question here. And a Fairy Tale Live asks,
Logos.com/ap. Sorry, go ahead.
Does it comes with the option to change the language and get translations? And the answer is yes. I speak one less language than AP. I only speak 2 languages, but it comes with the interface, can change language, and it actually comes in with a built-in translator. So even if you have books in the original language, Logos can translate on site. Actually, Scott, can you do a quick demo of that right now for the audience?
Yeah, hold on a sec. Let me see on what let me open up a book here. What book do I want to open up? That's a good question, right? I guess I could do a quick commentary. Yeah, let's go. There we go.
Good.
And let me see if I've got this loaded up. I don't have that on here. Yes. But if you go pro or higher, there'll be a little button here called translate. Okay.
Yeah.
And it will translate what you've selected. So I just grabbed a paragraph out of a commentary, but it can be any book in your Logos. And you can translate to 112 different languages. So Portuguese, Spanish, Japanese, Chinese. I think we've got all bases covered from Afrikaans to Zulu. But yeah, that's a kind of an advanced feature. I show that when I travel internationally. I mean, recently I was in Kuala Lumpur, probably going to the Philippines in a month. And so that will be definitely a feature that I'm going to show.
All right. So this is what I'm going to do because I'm awesome. So I'm actually going to share my screen. And
Scott, one issue that I want to point out quickly. One person in the chat brought it up, and I just checked myself as well. So when you go to the site logos.com/ap and you add the a subscription and Apostate Prophet study bundle, it actually adds the cost of the Western Civilization course to the card instead of giving it for free. Seems to be.
Because I tried that out and it worked when I did the.
It says $2.99, then crossed out, and it says $2.84, and adds the cost to the whole thing instead of giving it for free. That needs to be fixed.
That is true. Let me. Okay.
See.
Yeah, we will fix that ASAP. Just have the person email me, Scott@Logos, and I can go into the account and add that, no problem. Yeah, that's not good. We'll fix that.
Okay. We'll get that fixed soon. I do have to do something really quick because when I open Logos, it interrupted my OBS. So to the people on the other side of the screen, do not go anywhere. We are going to glitch for a second, but do not fret. We will be right back as soon as I can reopen my stream channel, because it don't allow me to change anything like that, because I try to be fancy and open the dark mode, and it's all AP. Oh, look at that. If it got fixed now, you see? As soon as I blame AP, it got fixed. So that means that it was his fault. Okay, now is
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. Yeah, great logic.
now
Yeah.
now. Oh, absolutely. It's not it's not it's correlated. It's simple. It's easy to understand. And now it did it again. You see, as soon as AP did not take personal responsibility for what we're doing here, the whole thing crashed again. So we have to make sure that AP is held responsible for these technical issues.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can get this going again. Let's see. Well, I got my logos going. The only issue here is
So we were just told that the problem has been fixed, and now there is another issue.
it was you.
Fantastic.
It was absolutely you, 100%.
Fantastic.
Yeah. You see, it is all you, man. You keep messing things up for no reason whatsoever.
Terrible.
Let's see. I need everybody on the chat to make sure that we all on the same. But we need dark mode. Yeah, I know. We're gonna get AP done nothing wrong. Come on, guys. AP gave it hallucinations. Absolutely. All it is are facts and nothing but facts, and it needs to be fixed. Okay. So I don't know what AP is not taking full responsibility for this as he should. Now that he is a Christian, he should be showing superb moral responsibility for all of these things.
Yes.
Let's see.
Right, we got it.
No, it's still messed up, man.
While you're doing that, I want to just go and read some super chats here and
Yeah. Go do that.
do that. So PC Luth says, AP, we spoke about problems in the UK last night. Attack happened on Jewish community here in London. I know, I'm aware of it. I'm still following the news, but I think it has been very much concluded. There has been a brutal attack, an arson attack against the Jews in Golders Green, which happens to be a place in the UK that is famously known